Lenin said, we must speak in a language which brings hate and derision towards those with whom we disagree.
The ultimate goal of those people is to usurp power. I mean, when you think about, everybody knows the term useful idiots.
You demonize the opposition. You make Donald Trump, he's even worse. And so that's where they came up with racism, sexism, xenophobia, all these things. After they were told this couldn't happen, he couldn't win, Hillary was going to win in a landslide, they had kind of a nervous breakdown. They became unhinged.
Trump doesn't back down. Like, he digs in for a fight, and he's not, he doesn't let anybody walk all over.
Mainstream media tells us that these riots and acts of violence are completely unorganized, defined as spontaneous in nature. But is that really the truth?
You don't just make a spontaneous protest where 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people show up with a specific agenda in mind. You don't create things like that. That comes through organization.
The campaign pays DNC, DNC pays Democracy Partners pays the Fogel Group goes and executes the shit on the ground.
On the 18th, our first big action is planned. This is going to be a serious party at Mike Pence's house. We've got a bunch of folks who are organizing that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be his last few days living in Chevy Chase before he moves into the Vice presidential residence, and we're going to send him off with a bit. Early in the morning, we're going to be doing blockades. We're going to be blockading checkpoints into the security zone. We're also going to be blockading roads and other modes of transit into the city. We're going to do everything we can to try to stop people from being able to access the hour.
We need to basically make this a non-peaceful transition at the absolute cost.
And so how are you guys planning to disrupt then throughout the day?
Starting with everything from checkpoint blockades to traffic blockades. The plan is to make the entire inauguration a total clusterfuck.
Here we have assembled profiles of the puppet masters guiding the chaos unfolding on America's streets. All are leaders of the Workers' World Party or the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Workers' World followed the theories of communist dictators Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong. They have been organizing protests and riots in the United States from the Vietnam War to Ferguson, Missouri. Freedom Road supports several Muslim and communist terrorist organizations. They have extensive networks in college campuses across the nation, and they can rally thousands of young people to their causes. Larry Holmes leads the Workers' World Party. He loves North Korea. Donald Trump, not so much.
Yesterday he was a monster, a racist, a misogynist, and today, well, he's our president. We must give him a chance. We're not giving him a chance. No peace, no peace, no Trump, no peace, no Trump.
Workers' World Youth leader Tom Michalak has been an active leader of the anti-Trump movement in New York and Detroit. In 2014, he traveled to Moscow as a guest of the anti-globalization movement of Russia.
The United States government is the greatest enemy to the peoples of the world.
Good evening, comrades and friends. I visited Moscow, Russia. Our host for the duration of our stay was Alexander Ionov, president of the anti-globalization movement of Russia. The underlying current among all their members is a staunch opposition to Western imperialism and the determination that all nations have the right to self-determination.
The movement is led by Moscow businessman Alexander Ionov. Comrade Ionov supports Syria, Iran, Venezuela, the Palestinian Authority, and anyone else who hates America.
Hello, comrades.
Funded directly by the Putin regime, the anti-globalization movement brings radicals from all over the world to Moscow to build an anti-globalist, or rather, an anti-American international movement. Freedom Road Socialist Organization leader Joe Eiersbacher of Chicago was a guest of the anti-globalization movement in 2014 and again in 2015.
The largest loss of life in recent decades has occurred as a result of U.S.-led wars.
I thought this was all a thing of the past. Why would Russia be supporting these kind of people today?
Russia's strategy now is not like the Soviet strategy of before in promoting an ideology and getting people to support an ideology. The strategy is, the other half of old Soviet strategy, was to create chaos. So because it cannot, in a practical way, challenge us militarily, it can challenge us politically by promoting chaos.
In March 2016, Joe Eiersbacher helped organize the student radicals who violently shut down a huge Trump rally in Chicago.
In Chicago Friday night, thousands of anti-Trump protesters forced Donald Trump to cancel his rally.
Well, last night's Donald Trump rally in Chicago has been postponed on security concerns after protests erupted before the candidate ever took the stage.
We've all seen the footage by now, the pushing, the shoving, the punching even, the police having to intervene at Donald Trump's rally. It was a group of organized thugs using violence to shut down political speech. Saul Alinskyite trained, organized left-wing thugs.
As economic conditions get better, as more jobs get better, they're going to continue to fight. If you think they're going to give you your country back without a fight, you are sadly mistaken.
If people really were upset about what was going on, they would think about what the Obama administration has done and what other progressives have done to target their political opponents, from everybody from David Daleiden, who exposed the Planned Parenthood harvesting and sale of fetal body parts. President Obama said that he joked about how the IRS should go after his political enemies, and then they did. They once threw a YouTube maker in jail rather than admit that terrorists had hit us again on September 11th. And the litany, the list of people who get prosecuted for political reasons, from people who are skeptical of climate change or who are targeted, John Doe investigations in Wisconsin. I mean, this is, if people really want to be outraged, there's plenty to be outraged.
I want everyone in this room to think about this. The first announced witness for the 116th Congress is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for lying to Congress. Certainly, it's the first time a convicted perjurer has been brought back to be a star witness in a hearing. And there's a reason this is a first, because no other committee would do it. But the Democrats don't care. They don't care. They just want to use you, Mr. Cohen. You're their patsy today. They got to find somebody, somewhere, to say something so they can try to remove the president from office. Because Tom Steyer told them to. Tom Steyer, last week, organized a town hall. Guess where? Chairman Nadler's district in Manhattan. 2 nights ago, Tom Steyer organized a town hall. Guess where? Chairman Cummings' district in Baltimore. Remember how all this started. The Clinton campaign hired Perkins Coie law firm, who hired Glenn Simpson, who hired a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who put together the fake dossier that the FBI used to go get a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. But when that whole scheme failed and the American people said, we're going to make Donald Trump president, they said, we got to do something else. So now, Clinton loyalist, Clinton operative Lanny Davis has persuaded the chairman of the Oversight Committee to give a convicted felon a forum to tell stories and lie about the President of the United States so they can all start their impeachment process.